Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the January 8th, 2019 County Board. We're going to start this meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think this should go on record as the biggest turnout for the opening of the official newspaper bids. Commissioners, is there a nomination for chair?
I nominate Commissioner Vetch for chair of 2019.
I'll second it.
All right. Are there any other nominations for chair?
I move we close nominations for chair and cast unanimous ballot for Commissioner Vetch for chair.
I'll second it.
Okay. Nominations have ceased. Commissioner Vetch, you are the chair of the 2019 County Board. I'll turn the meeting over to you.
Any further discussions on this item?
Don't we have to vote, Bob?
Yep. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. I'm looking for nominations for a vice chair for 2019.
I make a motion to have Christine Hewson as vice chair.
I'll second.
All right. Commissioner Dolan has nominated Commissioner Hewson for 2019 vice chair, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Any further discussion? There is all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, I want to begin off the statement here. I want to thank all of the county employees for the hard work and dedication over the past year. 2018 brought great challenges to many departments. However, due to the positive attitude and teamwork throughout the county, I believe we have made, again, great strides in improving Wright County and meeting our mission of a responsive government and quality service in a fiscally responsible manner through leadership and dedication. 2019, we must exercise discipline and efficiency if we are going to meet the needs of our local economy while ensuring taxpayers have value in their services at a cost that has little or no impact to the citizens going forward. The months ahead will bring many big decisions to a vote, and I encourage citizens of Wright County to keep informed and weigh in as we navigate these issues of a new ERP system, a law enforcement training facility, the current government center's location, the future of the Wright Regional Inspection Station program, the compensation and classification study, and the possible change from coordinator structure to an administrator structure in the county. I close by saying how grateful I am to serve the citizens of Wright County, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to serve as board chair in 2019. All right. Second year, we'll be going on to the
Reorganization.
Yep.
Oh, don't we have to do the other ones?
Yep, we do. So we'll be looking for a motion to
I'll make a motion to transfer back any unused funds in the county's attorney's contingency fund, the sheriff's contingency fund, and the incidental fund to the general revenue fund.
Second.
That's a mouthful. And motion by Commissioner Dullard and second by Commissioner Potter. Any further discussion? No? And all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll make a motion to recall all unused clerk hire and unused budgets for 2018.
Second.
All right. Once again, a motion by Commissioner Dullard and second by Commissioner Potter. Any further discussion? None. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to set the board's regular sessions for every Tuesday for 2019, and meetings shall be canceled at the call and are called to order at 10 a.m.
I'll second that.
10 a.m.?
10 a.m.?
Excuse me, 9 a.m. Wanted to sleep in again. Where's Mike? We just talked about that.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Burrell and a second by Commissioner Dahliden.
Commissioner Hewson.
Oh, Commissioner Hewson, I'm sorry. Commissioner Hewson, any further discussion?
I know we look a lot alike.
Yeah, we do.
All right, any further discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Lastly, we need a motion to appoint,
The committees.
committees. Were you gonna,
Mr. Chair, are you opening up for discussion on other committees that we've
Yes, we'll have to appoint committee assignments to the commissioners of the various committees. If there are any additions or additional committees that need to be added, it would be a good time to recognize those now.
Mr. Coordinator, is it something that maybe if we're going to have some further discussion, we move this maybe more to the back side of the meeting and move forward with some of the timed items and go through the consent agenda? I just don't know if there's going to be might be a lengthier discussion on some of these. We talked about maybe moving some around.
Yeah, I think we could lay that over till later.
Okay, so let's move the committee assignments to after, we'll make it item F on timed.
Continue.
Continued. With that, we'll move forward to dispense of the minutes from December 18th.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 18th,
Second.
2018.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Dahlhead. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Review and approval of today's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I think there's,
Yes, I just, if possible, I'd like to pull consent item A1A, the IT director position. I think maybe A1, yep.
I'll make a,
Move it to a timed item. You want to make that right out, make it item G, timed item G, or do you want to put it for items for consideration? Or you want to just pull it all together and not discuss it?
Sooner in the meeting if possible, out of respect for staff time.
Okay, so let's put it-
Perhaps after the sheriff.
After the swearing in?
items.
Okay, sounds
That
good.
works.
We'll do it between B and C.
so B plus.
B plus, there you go. IT director.
I'll amend my motion.
And I'll amend my second to include the pulling of item A.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden.
Either way.
Either way, vice versa. To approve today's agenda, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Lastly here, we have a consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, with that removal of the one item, I will approve today's consent agenda.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Houston, a second by Commissioner Dahlheiden. Any further discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Next, we'll be going to timed items. We will be going to the swearing in of Sean Derringer to Wright County Sheriff. Upward. I'll turn it over to you, Your Honor.
Do we need to have a microphone for him?
I think he'll be able to.
Just have him use his outdoor voice.
I, Sean A. Derringer, do solemnly swear
That I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and that I will faithfully execute
and that I will faithfully execute
the duties of this
and discharge the duties of this office
of sheriff
of sheriff
in the County of Wright,
in the County of Wright,
State of Minnesota,
State of Minnesota,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
and
and understanding.
You elected Sheriff Derringer, would you like to make some words? Say some words. Make some words.
Make some words?
Make some words, say some words.
What did they say, make some words?
He'll make some words.
Well, you guys know from the township meeting last week, a couple of minutes can turn into 28 really quick, right? Almost 25 years ago, my wife Tammy and I moved to Wright County. We didn't know anyone within 200 miles. Never ceases to amaze me to see God's hand at work. We moved away from our family, and 25 years later, we have more family than we know what to do with. It's pretty amazing. A cool story to share. You never know how things work, but I remember I started with the Buffalo Police Department in 1996. It would have been June of 1997. I was assigned with the Buffalo Police Department, working the Buffalo Rodeo, and former Sheriff Don Hozempa, he's in the room today. Thank you very much for being here. I'm honored. Sheriff Hozempa was in the VIP booth with former high school principal Nick Miller. And I had a couple of neat incidents or things going on at the school where I had worked hand in hand with Principal Miller. And it was funny, I walked up there just to chit-chat and see how things were going, and Nick Miller shook my hand and he says, "Hey, Hozempa, this is going to be my school resource officer." And Don looked at him and said, "Not so fast, Miller. He's going to be one of my deputies and he won't be working in your school." About a month and a half later, Sheriff Hozempa hired me as a Wright County deputy, and I have never looked back. I have been extremely proud of my career. I've been blessed with unbelievable opportunities. And as you look around and see the room full of eager people that are standing here waiting for the opportunity to help us succeed as the Wright County Sheriff's Office. I come into a pretty good environment. I've worked for 3 different sheriffs in my career, and certainly they all brought different leadership styles to the table, but the one thing that they all had in common was their desire to serve the public. Community policing has been in Wright County long before it was a household name. They all understood the importance. If we don't have the trust and respect of the people that we serve, we're not going to be as effective as we could be. So standing in front of you today as your 28th sheriff in Wright County's history, I am going to tell you that I am going to be an advocate for the people, an advocate for the employees of the Wright County Sheriff's Office, a humble public servant, and with you all helping me, we are going to achieve good things. Thank you very much. This meeting would get very long if I started thanking individual people, but there has been so many blessings along the way. The support has been too much to even mention at times, but I want to say thank you to the county board. I absolutely look forward to working with a strong, committed county board. Look forward to working with other county leadership, our city leaders, our township leaders. We have wonderful relationships with our police departments and our fire departments and the leadership throughout the county. I just look forward to tying into those organizations and being an advocate, how we can best serve the people of our community. So thank you all for being here today.
Are you inviting some people out?
Yes, we do have a small reception, large reception over in room 120. It's just around the corner, around the elevator. So stick around for a while. We'll have you over there.
I am going to, at this time, take a short recess till 9:20, allowing some times for some pictures and for everyone that would like to go recess to this reception. At this time, we'll be reconvening at 9:20. 9:23. We'll begin by starting on our second timed agenda item, the Sheriff's Office organizational analysis proposals.
I'll make a motion to table it at this point.
All right.
Do
you want to table it, or do you want to refer it to a committee?
Well, we'll refer it to either committee of the whole, or personnel, or ways and means.
Mr. Chair, I would like a committee of the whole on this because there's just too many moving parts to this, and we need to be fully vetted with information on what it means and what it means to the Sheriff's Department.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to move it to a committee of the whole.
My discussion point for this committee of the whole is, do you want them to shop for more proposals, or to stick with the two current proposals going into the committee of the whole?
Are there more companies out there that do such a thing?
Commissioners, there's very few companies that specialize in this. There's two that we're aware of. There's possibly another one out there, but I'm not aware of one. So, matter of fact, Springstead had to combine with another company in order to have the expertise on hand. So.
Okay.
Mark, did you get a second to your motion?
No, I did not.
So we shouldn't do anything until we get a second, really. I'll second Mark's motion to go to committee of the whole.
Okay, we have motion by Commissioner Dollard and second by Commissioner Burrell. Further discussion, dates.
Well, I don't see us having, oh no, we got leadership next week after the board meeting.
Correct, yes.
Do we have anything going on in the afternoon on the 15th?
I do.
I don't, Mr. Chair.
I'm okay.
No, I would be good with that because the legislature next week will probably be in that little kumbaya session, so they're not really going to get going anyway.
Lee, are you going to, obviously a VRP?
Yeah, I'll be tied up with the ERP sessions, but if the board wanted to meet.
Outside of that, because Sean would probably be available. So you guys want to go like 1 o'clock?
What time is leadership at? 11?
11.
11,
Oh,
okay.
it's 11 or 10:30.
10:30, okay, so
30.
you want to go 1 o'clock?
Yeah, 1 o'clock's good.
Okay,
And Mr. Chair, we'll be setting a number of committee of the wholes, it appears, so we may want to put a couple of them
together.
Yeah. So we might even, 12:30 might be a little early to start, but.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Dollard and a second by Commissioner Burrell for a committee of the whole regarding the sheriff's organizational proposals for January 15th at 1 o'clock. Any other further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Second item, added the IT director, pulled from the consent agenda.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I can speak to that. Wanted to make sure we got moving on this, as this is a important position to the county. I just wanted to bring it up as a question. I know I've seen other jurisdictions use search firms to assist with that. I'm anticipating we probably would have internal as well as external candidates, but I'm wondering if the board would be interested in looking at a search firm to assist with this, since this is such a key position to the county, especially with some of the projects that are going on currently. Just wanted to throw that out for discussion. I don't know the board's appetite. We haven't had a chance to really discuss, but since it was on the agenda, I thought I'd bring it up.
I brought this up to Coordinator Kelly this week as the specialized position as an IT director, and those right now in our administration not being their skill set isn't the same level of that of an IT director, and to be able to ensure that we get a strong applicant pool, I want to entertain the thoughts of maybe using a recruiting firm to enhance our pools for applicants for the IT director position, or at least have discussions regarding it, because I think this is something we're going to have to throw a bigger net, that we're going to have to go outside just of our locality and maybe have to look nationwide, and I think a recruiting firm would be able to offer us that opportunity.
Mr. Chair. I concur with that because of the specialty of this position. We need to get the right person in there, and it might be more than our staff is going to be able to comb the bushes to find. And it is such a key part. We have so many initiatives started already. This might be the time that we actually do this, and I would wholeheartedly support that. And actually, I'd make a motion to engage the administration to seek out a search firm to help us with the replacement of the IT director.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that, and that was going to be my question. Did you want to, are you looking for a motion or a committee of the whole decision? But I think it's appropriate to have the motion to move forward.
Maybe, Sean, I have a question, maybe Sean, but what kind of money are we talking? Is it going to be $5,000 or $20,000?
Commissioner Burrell, it's really hard to say. It depends on how in-depth we want them to get involved in the process. I've seen range from anywhere from $5,000 up to $30,000. So it'll vary.
I just hate spending money every time we turn around, and I see the value in it, but I mean, we did pretty good hiring Adam if he would have stayed around. So we made one little mistake.
Commissioner Dowling.
Well, he hasn't left yet. I still think it'll be hard for him to leave with 4 flat tires. But, you know, with a search firm, you're also going to end up having to pay people a lot higher money for what you're going to be asking. And I would think, why don't we try going out there on our own first, and then if we find that
we're not getting
the results that we want, there might be some really good people out there that would be interested in working at the right place.
And if I, thank you, and Mr. Chair, just dovetailing on what Commissioner Delyden said, I remember going through the process last time, and like I said, we ended up with a great candidate, but we also had, we had 2 or 3 other people that were like top notch that I think could have filled in too. But if we can't, I agree with Commissioner Delyden, if we can't find the pool ourselves, maybe then, you know, I would not have any hesitation to go with a firm after that.
Mr. Chair.
We get it out on Indeed and stuff.
Mr. Chair, the difference between the last time we went out for applicants for this job and this time is IT has done some quantum leaps in what they're doing there. It was more of a fire department then. They've got an organizational chart going on. They've got a lot of initiatives out there that are already started, and some are underway. This is a little different this time than last time. Last time it was kind of the Wild West show was going on. This time we need to have somebody that understands what we've already started, what we've committed to, and where we're going, and what the whole depth of what's going on here and what we're looking for, because we need that person with that skill set that can manage all the things that we have already started. I don't want somebody coming in and they don't understand half of what we've started here already, because that's just going to set us farther behind. That's going to cost us more money than finding the right person to get this job.
Well, I agree.
Taken care of.
I agree. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to use a search firm right off the bat. I mean, there's no doubt we need to have the best person for that position.
Well, Mr. Chair, direct on this one. For Commissioner Delyden's point, that'd be great if Mr. Tagara would have given us a 60-day notice. But, you know, per our rules or policy here, he gave us the 30-day, he gave us the fair, and that's why you have longer lead time for department heads, because it takes a little longer to replace them. But we are at a point now, we can't do some of these initiatives if we're going to be out there 6 months or 8 months to find this person. If we go through this exercise, and I just believe it'd be an exercise in futility, because to get somebody to understand the scope and depth of what we're doing here, it's going to be tough to find that person from the last pool of candidates we had. I just rather let's get this done correct and make sure we got the right person in there to take this to that next step. I think it's that important for us, because we've already invested a lot of money to get to this point, and we've already committed a lot for the future to get to the next step to bring us up. And, you know, we're only 19 years into this century, no sense just jumping in, but we should make sure we get the right person in there, because the last thing we want is somebody comes in here and they just grab the job until there's something else. We want somebody that actually wants to be here and understands what the job is that we're trying to get done.
I was making the statement that using a recruiting firm will help us in that vetting process of this. And I mean, that's one thing that we're in a from when Adam was hired to before that to now, the IT market has gotten to be very, very competitive. I mean, it was competitive when Adam was hired, but not nearly as competitive as it is now. And it's every year it gets more and more complex and much more difficult to vet out these applicants and even find these applicants. We've had numerous IT positions that have been ongoing postings. And my feeling is that we are not going to, our applicant pool is going to be very small, and I hate to leave this position unfilled for 90 days when it could be, or 120 days when it could only be unfilled for 60 days if we go the route of posting it first and going over it twice.
Sean, what's the maximum for the IT director? Do you have an idea? Adam, do you know off the top of your head?
Unfortunately, Commissioner Delight, I didn't bring that information with me for this, so. But
But I have a feeling that you can go with a search firm, but there isn't anybody that's going to take what we offer.
We had some discussion yesterday, Sean, regarding this, and that's the reason the recruiting firm would help us, because they can help illustrate to candidates that we are going through this compensation and classification program, and they can let people know of how these recruitments, how it would work and what their potential range of salary could be. Whereas right now, if we just openly posted like we would traditional positions, they're just going to look at that range, and that's all they have to go on. Whereas if we use a recruiting firm, they're going to be able to help us find those applicants and explain to them what the compensation really could be because of that aspect.
And what's the compensation really could be?
Well, they can explain on the fact that we know that odds are that our chances that we could be hiring above, outside of the bottom of the range. Other people are going to look at just what the range is. This is a position that we know in IT. How many positions have we hired this year in IT that were hired under 11%? I don't think any. No. I mean,
Mr. Chair, I agree with everything that everyone said. We need to get it done now. It's got to be the right person and all that. But what I don't agree with is that hiring this firm is going to make it go any faster. I think it's going to slow it down. I think we could put the job application and the job description out there and get applications and get going on this real quick ourselves. I'd rather give that a try first. So that's where I'm at.
now the other aspect of it is if you use a recruiting firm, majority of the time, depending on the contract, is if we hire somebody and they don't make probation, they leave us in 6 months, they'll find us another applicant in that contract. You know, so it gives us some safeguards. Whereas if we go into this aspect, we hire somebody, we have them for 6 months, they leave on their own accord, we're right back at square one. And because this is such a critical position and we're going into a critical time now with our ERP and a lot of our processes that are going on, I feel like some insurances there would be key.
But we're going to have, I think it's going to push it out further, because then we have to interview the firms that we're going to be doing the job search for and stuff. So let's just see what we can do on our own first. That's where I'd rather go. I think it's going to make it go longer, because we're going to have to, let's hire a search firm to get the right search firm too,
There was a motion and a second.
Yes.
Chair, I'll call the question.
All right, the question's been called. We have a motion by Commissioner
No.
Potter.
If he calls to question, it takes a 2/3 vote. You can't just call the question and make a vote. He's calling the question, that's
Call the question.
that's Robert's Rules of Order.
So,
Yeah. So then you would call that to
Call the
question.
vote on
Is that what you're doing?
Called, yep, call the vote on
Okay.
call the question. So all in favor?
I don't care, I'm ready to vote.
Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, so the question's been called. There's a motion by Commissioner Potter on directing staff to seek proposals. We're not actually accepting using a recruiting firm, but they are out to get proposals for using a recruiting firm. And is second by Commissioner Hewsome. And with that, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Mr. Chair, I just have, now that we can still have discussion, correct?
No, it's called the question. So we're going out for proposals. We're not accepting to use a recruiting firm. We're getting proposals to at least find out what it costs.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Yep.
So we're already out there for 1 week.
They can still post it right now the way it is, but we're going to start the process. I mean, it's still going to get posted. It's just, we're going to find out what it costs to use a recruiting firm to help enhance the process.
Was the motion to see how much a recruiting firm
Yes,
costs?
yes.
Or to hire an
No,
recruiting?
to find proposals.
Yep.
It
And
was
then
not
we'll
to find
still post
out, we're not, I wouldn't even yet, because I don't know what it costs. I need to
Right.
know what it costs first,
Yep.
Commissioner Burrow.
Okay.
So, okay, all in favor of directing staff to get proposals for a recruiting firm, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed,
Aye.
same sign? Motion passes 4-1. All right. Now we can move on to the 9:10 item, that's at 9:40. The Auditor Treasurer, Mr. Hevola.
Hey, good morning, Board. We're following Minnesota Statute 331, 331A01, where we're soliciting bids for the official newspaper. My office sent out a bid proposal to each official newspaper in the county. And again, we received 3 bids. In your packet would be the tabulation of those 3 bids. They were received December 21st. So we had time to formulate these proposals for you. Again, the Herald Journal by cost would be our lowest cost provider. They've been our official newspaper for many years now. They did increase their rate, but again, they're at 26 cents. The Delano Herald Journal would have been our second choice, and they're at 33 cents. And the Monticello Times would be at 63 cents. So, Board,
I was going to say, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to use Herald Journal as our official newspaper.
I'll second it.
And we got a motion by Commissioner Hewson, a second by Commissioner Dahliden for the Herald Journal to be the county newspaper.
I do like the 4th one that you have on the sheet.
Yes,
Zero.
the 0. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, just, and I can't find it in my thing here yet, but what was last year? How much has it gone up?
Wasn't it
Not
23
much.
last year?
It sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Couple pennies.
this was
Yep.
this year's.
Commissioner Burrow, I don't have that with me.
It just seems like I remember like about 11 cents, 10 or 11 cents, now we're at 26. Is that right?
Yeah, they attached a letter with it explaining why they went up. I mean, it doesn't matter really why you go up. It's your bid. They recognize that their rate was going up.
It's still low bid, so.
Yeah, right,
Right.
it's a little bit.
Low bid,
And
okay.
Yep.
in my opinion, still reasonable.
We need an official newspaper.
They went up because they could go up, I guess. Okay, that's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, Board. The second item on the agenda is to approve the ditch meeting minutes. Remember, this is a meeting that we held for the reestablishment of records on County Ditch 31. This is where we had Houston Engineering there to kind of meet with the benefited landowners. I think Jan did a great job summarizing those minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from CD 31, the public hearing of December 11th.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Potter, a second by Commissioner Hewson. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jan, excellent minutes. I mean, these were very concise, easy to follow. I was just, these are
Yep.
they're nice to read. And I think anybody who was there can't disagree with what was said and what was recorded here, because this is what they said.
All right. Any other further discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Mr. Mattice.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Morning.
I see I lost my honorary doctor title today.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I tried.
It's a new sheriff in town now.
Yeah.
Aaron, even if he does a bad job, he's got a good name. I'm here today with a couple orders of business. Recently, Bill Fiedler with the Fairhaven Mill Foundation contacted myself. Bill is the last surviving member of the Fairhaven Mill Foundation. his son-in-law, Mark, is here today, just to kind of see how things go. Fairhaven Mill Foundation was enacted to take care of the mill. It's a historic mill in Fairhaven, which is in Stearns County. But it's a Fairhaven Mill is our park that we manage and maintain. Stearns County pays half of the maintenance. Over the agreements, the Fairhaven Mill Foundation worked to reestablish the mill, maintain the mill, and the foundation, the structure itself. The Parks Departments for Wright County and Stearns County manage the land base around it, have public access, picnic areas, shore fishing, stuff like that. However, on December 20, Merritt Bartlett, who was the president of the foundation, passed away. Bill being, how's Bill? 89. Thought he'd take care of business before you know, the inevitable. So on December 26, Bill provided you with a letter, which is attached to your agenda, providing notice that the Fairhaven Mill Foundation is dissolving. With that, in Article 5 of their Articles of Incorporation, the foundation's intent is to donate the funds to Wright County. That's what it says in the articles, I believe. Bob and Brian have both reviewed the articles, and we've talked about this. So the funds will be donated to Wright County. The foundation has provided us a check for $19,960.47. Funds should be set aside in a dedicated account, similar to what we have at Nye Park and park dedication fees. We have a couple of them. Bob will set up that account to deposit these funds. Purposes are defined in the Articles of Corporation is to maintain the mill structure itself, not the grounds around it, add historical equipment, and or bring back the mill to operating levels, and to educate users and user groups. Our park commission will be meeting on the 14th of January. We'll be talking about what to do. First thing for us is to maybe take a little bit of those funds and develop some interpretive signage for the mill to provide historical education value of what that is. That does not exist out there right now, and that might be our first endeavor to kind of uptight these funds. So with that, I'm asking for a resolution. I think there's a resolution to adopt.
Yep, there is.
The donation.
Do you need two separate resolutions, one for the contract and one for the accepted donation, or is it just one resolution?
Just one.
It's just for, it's
Okay, I
just
thought
to
I seen
accept the
two,
donation.
okay.
No, that's for the other things. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden and a second by Commissioner Potter. Further discussion?
Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
I-
Oh.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, this is just a really cool, you know, structure, and it made me curious how much it would cost to actually get it into operational. I mean, and you're not going to just run it all the time, probably. I don't know what the thought was, but it is. I mean, it's a great area, and the mill is. It'd be fun to see it running, but at what cost? I mean,
I do not know the cost
Yeah.
of that. With it being on National Register of Historic Places, I'm sure there's a little bit of a learning curve on what we
Yeah.
can and cannot do.
And that plus, I mean, you'd think that if there was some interest, or if interest was raised, that people would be willing to donate some funds depending on, you know, what they're looking at for this structure. But I think it'd be kind of a good thing if they could bring it back.
That'd be our job, no.
Mr. Chair, I just have one question. Did the Parks Board recommend this?
Park Board meets on January 14th.
So they haven't made any recommendation yet?
Not on this. I don't know if they can actually have a recommendation on this.
Well,
It's kind of in the Articles of Incorporation. If the foundation dissolves, they have to get rid of their assets.
okay.
Basically,
Then
in their
my
articles,
next
it says
question
Wright
is,
County.
I think it kind of goes without asking, but you're in favor of it? You think?
Yeah,
You support
I mean,
it?
Somebody's got to take over.
I just need somebody other than my ignorance voting on this. I want some cover here.
I mean, we in their articles, in their joint, we used to have a joint powers agreement with Stearns County. That was dissolved in 1979. I think, right, from the research I did. And in their articles, it says the funds go to Wright County Parks. That'd be us.
So this would be totally Wright County then, it's nothing with Stearns at all then?
Well, we'll have to start working on that.
Because I'm just thinking with the two counties together,
Yep.
it
Right.
might be.
Right now, we have like a memorandum of understanding where they pay half the maintenance and operation costs at Fairhaven Mill on the grounds itself. So we're gonna have to have those discussions about the mill structure and how
It's
that's
actually
gonna
in
operate.
Stearns, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the whole park in Stearns?
There's a small land base on the south side of the Clearwater River that is in Wright County.
Okay,
But
yeah.
the use area is all in Stearns.
Yeah.
All right, Commissioner Potter?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mark, just as a person in high school years that frequently visited that park because of its unique location just over the county line, I will attest to what it was like in the 70s versus the amount of work, energy, effort to restore that to what it looks like today. I've been out there a few times. I brought my kids out there to look at that, and I am impressed with the amount of work and how they brought that back, because it was, in the 70s, it looked like it was ready for a match. It was not in that good a shape, but they've really done a great job, and I think the historical significance of what that used to be for Americana is something we need to preserve. And I would assume that if we wanted to do anything, we could solicit for Historical Society money, grants at some point in time in the future if they
Right.
determine what to do to help offset or mitigate some of these costs if we want to make it operational or whatever again. But it truly is a nice looking park, and it's got a very long and rich history to it. And I would like to myself see that maintained, because that's part of Americana that a lot of people don't
That we've
realize
lost.
that was what, we've lost Burnings Mill, we lost Albright's Mill, we lost a lot in this county. Just as soon keep one of them from this area so people can see what it was like back in the day.
You forgot the Hanover Mill.
Oh, the Hanover one also is gone.
Yep, I agree.
All right, any other further discussion? All right, we have a motion, we have a second, it's a resolution. Commissioner Burrell?
Aye.
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 Motion, or resolutions passes. We have
Thank you.
next item.
Last item on the board is, we are looking to ask you to adopt 2 separate resolutions related to the grant application to Transportation Alternatives Programs for Phase 1 of the Crow River Regional Trail, otherwise known as the Trail along SAW 17, Delano South to the county line. We're putting in the applications for that project. We did last year as well. We did not receive funds. These funds would be scheduled if awarded for calendar year 2023 project. The resolutions are attached. One's a sponsoring agency resolution. The other one is a maintenance agreement resolution. The Crow River Regional Trail, that whole master plan has been identified as a regional significant facility for Greater Minnesota and for the Met Council. It's a joint project between us, Carver County, 9 municipalities, and Three Rivers Park District. Our goal is, if we get this grant, is to try to offset any local funds with the state grant through the legacy funds for parks and trails. That's our goal.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution related to the Transportation Alternative Grant application for the Crow River Regional Trail, Phase 1, CSAH 17.
Second that.
We got a motion by Commissioner Potter, a second by Commissioner Burrell. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair? Just for the public to know, this, as Mr. Mattice was referred to, it's a regional trail, and it's basically going to be the backbone of our trail program in our county, going from Laconia up Totsego, and then as it links in everything else coming in. It is of regional significance, and it is, to me, it's the important first step we need to do to build out the rest of it there. And hopefully we're more successful this year with the TAP grant than we were in the past.
So it's resolution. Any other further discussion? Commissioner Hewson?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes.
Do you need 2 resolution votes?
Yep.
Since there's
Is there a
2
second one?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution for the maintenance.
Maintenance.
Second.
We have a, motion by Commissioner Dollard and second by Commissioner Potter. Any other discussion? All right. Commissioner Dollard?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Have a good day.
Mark?
Thank you. And Mr. Mattice, let me know whatever I can do when I'm down at the Capitol to help with this, when the timing of the application and when they're due and who I have to talk to.
Mr. Tagaro?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. This morning I'm looking for authorization and a signature to extend a contract for an on-base administrator through On Demand Group. We've already had a contract with them, and the contractor that we had ended up landing a county job at another county for on-base administration. So what we're looking to do is get a 6-month contract in place starting at the end of February for the candidate in question, and do the procurement policy and everything. It has to come to the board for that kind of signature.
End of February?
End of February. The candidate has another project that's closing, and that'll give us time to go through, do the background checks properly and everything, even though it kind of pushes it out. We have some other resources for professional services that we can utilize in the meantime, as well as our existing staff for supporting.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the 6-month extension of agreement with the On Demand Group for an on-base administrator contractor.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Allied and a second by Commissioner Potter. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, Board.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
We're moving now. We have item.
Oh, Adam, where'd you park today?
Actually, I borrowed these cars.
Now we're going down to item F, the reorganization of committees and assignments for discussion here. So,
Mr. Chair, I did have just one thing that I would like to recommend for a change. On the Minnesota rural counties, they have me as the delegate and Commissioner Potter as an alternate. We could also add on after that other commissioners.
Oh, okay.
Because, believe it or not, yesterday we had a case where I was there and I had to leave early, and then Commissioner Potter wasn't there and Commissioner Hewsome was, so they have no problem with that at all, so.
So,
Yep.
Commissioner Burrell, you instead replace my name with
No,
commissioners? With all commissioners?
No, it wouldn't replace it. It would just be.
You're next in
I would
line,
be the
but
delegate, you would be the alternate, and then beyond that would be other commissioners. So it'd be Burrell, Potter, and other commissioners.
And other commissioners,
Just if they,
Burrell deems,
if you or I couldn't make it, any one of the
Right.
other three
Okay.
could take over.
and-
I don't know if we need to
Mr.
have it
Chair?
on there.
do what?
right, Mr. Chair, actually, that happens anyway, because if for some reason a delegate, and the alternate are both unavailable, then we've filled in with other commissioners in the past. So, Commissioner, I don't know if we really need to add that, because that could be added on to all of the, probably committees in a way.
Well, some
unless you want-
some boards, though, I don't think they allow it. They
Recognize?
just have the two
Okay.
people, so.
oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not sure if this board is that way.
This one lets the other, just says other commissioners.
Well, it rarely happens, but it's happened, a couple of times over the years. But, yeah, however you want to do it.
And Mr. Chair, there's another one down here on the Highway 25 Corridor Coalition. The players will reverse, and Commissioner Vetch will be the primary, and I'll be the alternate. Being he's very invested in that area and I think there's a very high level of trust with Commissioner Vetch with that, where I'm not from that district, so they kind of question where I'm at times, I think. And the other point being that now that I'm chair of the 55 Coalition and vice president of the Transportation Alliance, my plate is a little full this year, and I don't want to not give this the proper review and diligence that it needs. And I believe Commissioner Vetch, he's very vested and I've given him pretty much everything from the beginning, and he'll do a fine job to help us figure out that regional crossing.
A couple items I'm going to just put in for some discussion is, since this document right now is the only document that we have for auditing purposes as to what is per diem allowed and not per diem allowed, and it's also the only thing that we have for transparency to the public as to what things we attend on a regular basis. First of all, then I'd like to add the Mayor's Association and Township Officers, both meetings which we attend regularly, and we present and answer questions. I feel that they should be added and it should be listed as all commissioners, but it's a discussion point for all of you to have.
I agree with that.
I'm in favor of that also.
So you're saying that if it's on here, then you can
It would be
ask for the per diem?
It would be
This is the only, because right now we have a loose policy that basically doesn't allow the auditor treasurer's office to, in any written form as to what is per diem or not per diem allowed. All we have is history that's past practices. So I'm asking that we as a board start a practice of saying that if it's not, putting the things that we are going to be per diem allowed and putting them on these sheets. So therefore, the auditor treasurer's office, when we go through our auditing process, we have a clean document that says what is per diem allowed and what is not.
And Mr. Chair, people don't have to take a per diem if they don't want to.
They don't have to. No, they don't have to, but this gives
But it's
them.
something, and, I mean, we, have moved, I think, to be more conscious when we are attending, like, the quarterly meetings and that kind of thing. So we're all there to have that as a announcement per se, that we're attending these meetings, so I think that's important.
And Mr. Chair, for the township officers also have to have that combat pay in there for that one.
Because, like another item that I would put on here is discussion as to quarterly leadership is one that we sit there once again.
I was just going to bring that up, because we're all together there at that meeting as well, so. Mr. Chair, I would like to add that one on as well.
Mr. Chair, I have two for discussion. I've been invited to be on the TURN, which is the Drug Court Task Force or Steering Committee, and it's an advisory role. They're bringing in other members of the community and that kind of thing, but it's quarterly meetings to review and evaluate the drug court program and to make decisions regarding the necessary program changes. We do have the quarterly meeting schedule for the year. And also, I've been a part of the Safe Harbor. It was kind of the task force for 5 years now. And we haven't had, at first we have more regular meetings, but this last year, Wright County was chosen as one of 5 pilot sites to write protocols for the exploitation of our youth, essentially, and to be more regionally specific. So that's something I've been involved with, and if that's an acceptable committee. We don't have a schedule yet for 2019, but I have spent many hours, full day actually, as a
Mr. Chair.
What is the name of that one?
that is the Safe Harbor, excuse me, Wright County Safe Harbor. Well, the full name is Protocol Development Team, but
Wright County Safe Harbor will title it,
Yeah.
okay. I'll let you get details to Susan after the meeting or placement. Is there another one yet, you said?
Nope, that's
Mr. Chair.
it for me.
Commissioner Botter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I wholeheartedly agree with Commissioner Hewsome, and God bless her for how much time she puts into a lot of things, because I know we all do things that we don't get compensated for. But as we've heard from the Sheriff's Department before, the Drug Court Advisory Committee, the Safe Harbor thing, these are things that we need to be on the front end of and make sure we're at the table so we understand what's coming at us instead of having to react to everything. And it is important for Wright County for us to keep our crime rate low, to keep this place safe, to have people that are engaged, and God bless you, Christine, for doing this.
I think it's very important, as you say, to be part of this and to, help steer the, the committee. So, thank you.
So, in this discussion here, is this something maybe we want to have in one of our workshops, that we have a discussion as to formally adopting this as a per diem guide, and maybe at that same workshop meeting discussing a mileage policy for the county board? It's a discussion that I've wanted to have for a period of time, so that we are all know that we're doing it and we're all doing it the same, we're all doing it right.
Mr. Chair, I was just going to chime in. Administration and other staff have been working towards revising the Commissioner Handbook, and one of the things that has come up is this committee listing per diem, how we're paying it out, and just kind of clarifying that. Because as you're right, this is the best document we have currently, but we feel there are some gaps. It would be good to clarify that. So I guess knowing we've done some work on that handbook, I think it'd be nice to tie it all together and have a discussion with the board at an upcoming workshop, committee of the whole, whatever you want to call it. just to put a bow on that.
So I think we won't formally adopt this as the per diem guide at this time, but I'd like to add, we're adding those 4 items. Is that what the Mayor's Association, Township Officers, Quarterly Leadership, and Wright Safe Harbor at this point?
And the turn.
And the turn, okay.
Mr. Chair, I just wonder, the first ones, the last 2 that Commissioner Houston brought up, I wonder if we shouldn't maybe have a little bit, before we formally take them on, to have a little more discussion at that committee of the whole, because then there's, what's going to be the criteria to do that? Because we all go to different meetings. I'm just thinking, I go to the Highway 12 Safety Coalition and, different
Right.
ones. I mean, what is going to make it that threshold where it's going to be authorized attendance? So
Well, and
maybe,
perhaps
I'm
the
not
Highway
opposed
12
to it.
is-
I'm just
right.
saying maybe we should hold off on that one, because the other ones, the entire board is going to be at, leadership and the association meetings.
But perhaps you should be on the Highway 12.
And it should
know?
be, maybe
I mean, we've
that's
got
it.
Highway 55, we've got Highway 25.
Yeah.
So if you're attending the
Yeah.
Highway 12, I don't
So-
see why
so-
that wouldn't be.
And I'm just thinking there's a lot of other ones too
Well,
that we're at.
we all go to other meetings,
Yeah.
but these are official, official groups and committees that are
But
in
I'm
our
saying, but
county.
maybe that's something that we should have that discussion
You want a
about.
discussion, so
that's
we
fine.
can have a discussion like that, decide whether,
Yeah.
what the criteria is,
Yeah.
okay?
That's,
Mr. Chair, a couple of other suggestions. At the bottom of page 4, you've got Wright County Area Transit Joint Powers Board listed, and that has gone away it's been dissolved as of the end of 2018, so I think it could be,
Well, you have 2 of them listed.
well, so the one at the bottom of page 4 could be scratched because that no longer exists. There is a Wright County Area Transportation Advisory Council, or there hopefully will be one. Again, that's in the works. But at this point, the way it's, I've been working with Commissioner Vetch, at this point, it would have city representatives on. The county board would adopt, or would appoint a couple of township people, but I don't believe there would be any of you 5 serving on that. That could change, but at this point, I would just leave that.
Which I think is something I have to modify with you, because we actually have to have one of us that serves, or at least one of us, if not 2 of them, that actually serve on the
Okay.
Trailblazer Board to advocate their information back to the
Kind
Trailblazer
of be
Board.
the liaison.
Liaisons, yep.
Okay. We can do that.
Do that.
So you may want to list it, and we can add that party later.
Yep.
Unless you have someone in mind. But again, that body has not actually formed yet at this point.
I think we just leave it in there because we're going to be taking, it's planned to be on, I think, next week's agenda. So, I think the idea was we're going to have 1 or 2 commissioners on it like we've traditionally had on the WCAP board.
It's actually on later today.
Was it
Later
today?
on today.
I didn't remember if you got it in there today. I can't remember. So many things moving.
Yeah. So I got a little confused, sorry, Mr. Chair. So we remove the Wright County Area Transit and it would, but keep the Trailblazer, right?
Yep. So,
Okay.
well, this one goes away. Now you flip
Yep.
to the next page.
And that's
And then
for
that
the
gets replaced
potential.
with
Yep.
the advisory.
Yep.
So basically, I'd be just shifting, unless somebody else is interested, myself and Commissioner Potter to that one as the liaisons for that.
And they're going to continue to call it WCAT?
That,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
WCAT Advisory Council,
so,
it's,
yeah,
it,
Wright County Advisory,
everybody knows what it is. I mean, you don't have to retrain the public on what it is.
yeah. One other one that I was going to say is, I'm interested in trying to make a play for the Personnel Committee, as I've voted against many different things that have come out of the Personnel Committee this year. Just so I'm not getting it all secondhand and trying to swim a stream, flow uphill all year long. Otherwise, I'd be interested in moving all of our personnel items to a committee of the whole. I feel it's so many of the issues I'm outvoted for one.
Yeah, but isn't what we're going to be doing with the class and comp study supposed to help eliminate some of those issues? I thought that
Potentially.
was the whole reason we were spending all the money to do that.
Potentially, but the question is, my question is when we go through this comp and class things, how many of these discussions will end up going into the personnel committee or will be done as a group? As entirely?
The comp and class study will all be done by committee of the whole.
I mean, I just,
Mr. Chair, hopefully, with the personnel committee, like all other committees, it's like we had a building committee for the highway building and everything else. When something triggers controversy, like a couple of your items you're talking about, I'd be hoping that the personnel committee would identify that, say, okay, this is maybe something we should put to committee to hold because of the nature of the business. Keep the personnel committee, but have them more aware of hot button issues that might trigger a committee of the whole, personnel committee of the whole on, because I think sometimes as you're trying to get up to speed, there's some things need the whole committee and some don't. And I just think the structure works well. It's just a matter of some hot button issues. Maybe it could be refer that to a committee of the whole.
And Mr. Chair, I would say that maybe any request to hire above, the 11, 14%, I forgot what it was, go to committee of the whole, personnel committee of the whole. I mean, hopefully those are going to lessen, but we have personnel employee relations, so we're going to be going into union negotiations later this year. So it's not something that a committee of the whole, that can't be a committee of the whole. You have two commissioners, you get direction from the board as to what the negotiations, what our limits are and what our parameters are and that kind of thing. So that's pretty clear. It's just the people, that are sitting at the table that are in those union negotiations, so.
Mr. Chair, do you think that, I think we could probably have a committee of the whole meeting to go over this and get it all ironed out, all of the things that we're dealing with right now. Do we have to approve this today?
I guess we'd have to do sooner than later because obviously these things are moving forward, but I guess.
Could we approve it with the changes that we agree on and then have a meeting I just don't want to put something in, like I said, I'm not opposed to what Commissioner Houston brought up, but then we just have to have some kind of criterion, and that's what I think is lacking right now.
Right.
Until we get that ironed out, and we could spend an hour on it, really trying, because I'm just thinking of different things that they're regular committees that I, like the Dassel-Cokato Trail. I attend that because we have an interest, they ask us for money, they ask the Parks Commission for money. So, and I don't know, we need to come up with something some criterion, and like I said, we could really spend a lot of time hashing that out.
Yeah, and I'm open one way or the other, so.
Mr. Chair, I would just advise, kind of building off Commissioner Barrell's statement, if those are the ones that we agree on and traditionally have done, I think we should add them since we do have to have the organizational meeting, so it's set by statute, to nail that down. Certainly, we can go back and revise.
We could do this next month or 2 weeks from now, whatever, and
we can revise it in the future. I just think we need to get an established initial draft here. Okay. If there are other groups, based on the criteria developed and we have the discussion, we can certainly add those. I just think it'd be good to get the initial committee assignments established for 2019 here.
I'll make a motion to accept these minutes or these committee meetings as amended at this point and for further discussion at our next workshop.
I will second that with the clarification of the ones that we added would be, the approved would be leadership, mayors, quarterly, township.
Yes.
The ones we're adding,
Those-
basically.
Are those the ones that,
I think those three, are definitely the other ones.
And
that pick up
basically,
that discussion.
and then the removal of Wright County Transit Joint Powers Board and shifting my name and Potter's down to the Wright County Area Transportation Advisory Council.
WCAT.
WCAT, yep.
And then have the Drug Court Advisory Committee and Safe Harbor for future discussion to get the whole scope of it, so Commissioner Burrell and the rest of us know exactly what the mission is.
Yeah.
and us, and along with other ones that may.
Yeah,
like the-
whatever.
like
And
the
other
highway-
ones that
like the
you
highway-
bring forward to that,
Yeah,
correct.
12.
I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
And then you're basically leaving everything else the way it is.
When I go out to French Lake Township.
I'm just going to note, I'm going to vote against it because I am making my statement against the way we're structuring them, but I will be outvoted on that, so.
Derek, can you clarify that? I'm not sure what.
With the changes, or?
Yeah, your reason you're voting against?
Because I don't like the way we're structured on our personnel committee. I've lost too many times this year, so I'm voting against.
But isn't that something that we could talk about at the?
I thought that was one of the
It could be
things we were gonna
revamped,
discuss.
you know.
You're going to discuss
Yeah,
that?
we can discuss that.
I'm totally in favor of this, bringing that, I'm not writing it off, but it just, I'm thinking the things that we can agree on today, we can agree on, and then we'll bring that back.
Yeah, and there might be others that people look at other committees. I
Mr.
mean,
Chair.
But, yeah.
I remember what Coordinator Kelly tells us, by statute, we must have this in place.
Yeah.
So we can have further discussion on some of the other nuances, but as far as getting this structure under, we need to do that today.
All right. So then I guess I'll agree to it if we leave the personnel committee unassigned. If we're going to assign people to it, then I will still vote against it. But if you leave it unassigned, then I will vote in favor of adopting everything, leaving the personnel committee unassigned.
Well, Mr. Chair, it's on the list, so I think you have to assign it.
I don't know from whether, I mean.
So what you're saying is if we do
He
that,
wants to be on the.
we'd better have a committee of the whole real quick and work this out.
Yeah, well, probably, yeah, probably we should.
You know what, Derek, I'm okay with you voting against it. I understand what you're voting for. But I do think it's something that we do need to talk about. I'm not opposed to your idea on that, but I don't know. We can talk about it later, though.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we have a motion then to adopt the board organization, or committee assignments, or whatever you want to call them all.
I will make that motion.
Committee and
With the 3 additional ones and 1 removed.
one removed, yep. A motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden, is that a motion, I assume?
Yep.
Christine?
And Chris seconded it.
Did you already make the motion?
Yeah, we did before.
Okay.
It's already motioned and
Oh,
seconded.
okay.
20 minutes ago.
That's why I forgot.
All right, and so then a second by Commissioner Houston. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same, or opposed, aye. Motion passes. All right. Now we're going down to the committee minutes. We'll try to do this as efficiently as possible, so I sent messages out to everybody earlier regarding preparing for those. If we can try and summarize them to the best of your abilities.
Just send me an email, too.
The owner's one, but I don't know if you're at that one, but if you can summarize it.
The owner's one, which one?
That's the 1219, the last one. Coordinator Kelly, 12-7.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll take the December 7th minutes. Members present were 4 of the commissioners. Dahlheiden was unable to be there that day. This was our meeting with our legislators. We had Representative Marion O'Neill, Senator Bruce Anderson, and Senator Scott Newman in attendance. Additionally, we had Shane Zart from Flaherty and Hood, along with several county staff. The document is attached of our legislative priorities that were discussed, and the minutes follow that relatively closely. I'll maybe touch on a few of the things that I think generated the most discussion. First off, the reimbursement of our expenses from the lawsuit we incurred with the state auditor. Sounded like we had some good traction in getting reimbursement through the legislature on that one. We did have Shane Zart from Flaherty and Hood. Spoke to some of the proposals that have been discussed regarding utility valuations. Of course, we have a keen interest that Excel is one of our largest taxpayers within the county, and so we had quite a bit of discussion regarding those utility valuations and how it would impact our county. The Attorney's Office spoke both child protection in kind of concert with Health and Human Services. We did go over the Drive Right program and discussed, as we did last year, the differences between other programs in the state and how that had gone away. We did talk quite a bit about the License Bureau, both the frustration with the MNLAR system and how that's played out, as well as some of the work duties that have shifted from the state to the counties, but yet the fees have not necessarily reflected that. For Health and Human Services, presented a large number of items. which again are listed in the handout and the minutes. I think our most discussion took place last year. We had done a presentation on the Minnesota Eligibility or Technology System, or MET system. We brought that up again this year, which generated quite a bit of discussion again. Highway Department, I took that one and discussed it on behalf of our highway engineer. Most of that discussion centered around funding and some of the major projects in Wright County regarding I-94. And there's been quite a bit of discussion at the legislature regarding the revenue for auto parts and discussion around the revenue that could bring in. So a few things related to the legacy amendment that were mentioned on behalf of the Parks Department. And that's been an ongoing item since last year as well, was cited. So this was our second year of having this meeting. We had the 3 legislators this year. That was a quick summary. Again, all of our legislative items are included in the handout there if folks are interested. So with that, a summary of the minutes.
Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. In the legislative outlook we did, the nice thing with the new governor is he is not named an IT director yet. He is having some challenges trying to figure out what direction it's going, because he doesn't figure that he's getting enough information for him to make a good decision. And I applaud that effort to, instead of naming that right away, let's see, do we have the right people in place to fix this Minlar's mess? So I give him kudos for that, because that mess is a little bit bigger than he first anticipated. And this morning on the radio, Senator Gazalka was one of the transportation floating thing, and since they did half of the auto parts for roads and bridges, their proposal coming out of the Senate is going to be that you take the other half of that and dedicate that roads and bridges instead of raising the gas tax, would bring in with $150 billion over 10 years. So those are things that are already out there in the works. And I know Senator Newman supports that because he is the chair of the Senate Transportation Policy Committee.
I think it also put some of that money towards Minlar's.
Any other further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, Commissioner Hewsome on the 1211, Wright Regional.
All right. There are many, many pages of handouts for this meeting, and I would encourage people to refer to that. It's going to be just kind of a real high-level summary as best I can with very extensive minutes. The members present of our December 11th, 2018 committee meeting of the whole for the Wright Regional Inspection Program. Members present, the commissioners and Coordinator Kelly. Others present, Chief Deputy Hoffman, Kreiser, members of the Wright Soil and Water Conservation District, Greater Lake Sylvia, and Ann Pierce was from Ecological and Water Resources Section Manager of the DNR, and also Heidi Wolf from the DNR. So we start out with a PowerPoint presentation from Chris Hector from the Greater Lake Sylvia program, and also we have the attachments of the 2018 RIP, as it's referred to, review, also letter from the Initiative Foundation and the Wright Regional Water-Related Equipment Inspection Program final report, and there was also 8 emails from constituents. So Mr. Hector started with the summarize that the program started in 2017 when we passed a resolution, and the lakes in the program were East and West Lake Sylvia, Lake John, and Pleasant Lake. It was established to test whether the regional inspection stations provide value and better voter education, and the county agreed to provide 1 or more inspection stations with trained and certified inspectors, and will receive $1,275,000, approximately 306 in AIS state aid over 5 years. And also, I mentioned that on the page 5 show that the 8 county lake associations spent $422,000 over 2 years in 2016 and 2017 for treatment and monitoring. The goal basically is to provide 100% coverage for partner lakes, and we can kind of look on some of that, on some of those sheets on that. Also, in 2017, there were 40 days that the Wright Regional Inspection could not afford to provide decontamination services, but in 2018, decontamination staff was there from sun up to sundown every day of the boating season with the goal of keeping the wait time late. Mr. Hector referred to the problem in Pleasant Lake that there's only 4% of the time that there was actually monitors at that, and that's one of the reasons why they're looking to bring in more lakes to this to provide a more efficient way to spend the dollars. O'Hare provided a quick update on the wait time at the inspection site for boaters coming in was 30 seconds. There was also 1,782 additional entry inspections compared to 2017. Before the pilot program started, when there was inspectors at the ramp, the maximum staff at one time was 5. 4 ramps were monitored, and there was a decontamination station. With the RIP program, operations were conducted from a half an hour before sunrise to half an hour after sunset. The decontaminations decreased slightly in 2018 from 2017. There was 429 violations reported to law enforcement, utilizing 1,592 labor hours at the cost of over $31,000. So this is provided by the Wright County Sheriff's Office. They did get feedback from people, and it was mixed. 53% oppose the program, 40% supported. O'Hare said support is stronger among lakeshore property owners, those who receive written information, live live in the Annandale area, prefer to cruise the lakes versus fish. And then there was also we went into the setup costs and some benefit cost analysis if more lakes are brought in. Just a couple other points. We have discussed bringing more help in from the DNR. It is really officially should be the DNR. They're responsible, but they just don't have the funds and that kind of thing to really be part of this, apparently. Chief Deputy Hoffman said that the 2018 enforcement model is not sustainable. It would just be too expensive, so there was more discussion on that. And the lake associations do have a plan that would hopefully reduce the cost by spreading the dollars out among all, bringing in more lakes. So it's hard to condense all these minutes because they're very extensive. And we did have public comment. So there was a number of people that spoke. There was a lot more people that were waiting, but it just got to be a very long meeting. And basically, the recommendation after all that was to continue this meeting late in January 2019. And I would encourage people in the public to go ahead and read these minutes and also to look at all the documenting evidence and the emails and that kind of thing, so they get kind of an idea of what all is involved in this issue.
Thank you, Commissioner Hewsome. Do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I will move the minutes and the recommendation.
I'll second it.
All right, motion by Commissioner Hewsome, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
Had enough on this subject. The fact that Heidi Wolf from the DNR came out here for this, she's taken a step forward instead of being part of the problem, which, in my opinion, She's been kind of the roadblock in all this. I think it's because of the Starry Stoneware and Medicine Lake and other areas. I think it's caught her attention that she needs to do a better job getting before the legislature. She needs more funding to do their job adequate, because we can't have Wright County Sheriff's Department be doing this anymore. It's a big cost for a few lakes, and there's no way we can afford to put all 30 lakes or whatever it is that number is under this umbrella, because it's just not going to work. I'm hoping that they got the message that the DNR, whether it's through boat fees or legislation or something, they need to take the lead on this, and they need to come step up on this one.
Yeah, and it actually should be, Mr. Chair, it should be tied to boat license and fishing license, things that strictly affect it. I think that would be only fair.
And again, redirect on that is the new governor has picked a different DNR commissioner. Mr. Landwehr is out, and I think that was part of the issue before. Is I think there was a lack of trust in the direction it was going with his leadership. Not that he's a bad person, but they needed a fresh face, fresh voice in there to, now they got to hit this issue head on and deal with it instead of just sitting in the background.
Any other further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Commissioner Dahlheim, in the December 18th Committee of the Whole.
We met, we talked, and then we made a decision to authorize a staffing study for later, which we'll be talking more again about next week. It was a continuation from November 28th Committee of the Whole meeting. Everything is on the county website. I could go over it verbatim, but there's no reason to.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Commissioner Dahlheim, I want to see if you'll be a friendly amendment. I want to make sure that this reads that we didn't authorize the sheriff's office. We're authorizing that the board will be hiring them. This firm would be working for the board and not for the sheriff's office. That right now those recommendation reads that we be authorizing the sheriff's department to be hiring them. And I want it to be worded that the county board will be hiring this firm. So that this report would be answering to us and not to the sheriff's department in terms of, I want the board to have control over any decisions or any information with this firm and not the sheriff's department.
Well, yeah, what the sheriff's department's gonna have to be intimately involved.
They'll be intimately involved, but I mean, right now, you're basically, if you read this right now, you'd be giving that, we wouldn't ever see these proposals again based on the way that wording is that we're giving them $80,000 in their budget to hire whoever they want, based on those wording, based on that language.
Mr. Chair, I think that the way it states, authorize a staffing study for the Wright County Sheriff's.
It still keeps us in the driver's seat.
Right, it's for them, it's not by them. So I think that if you want to clarify it, that by the county board or by the county.
I mean, I guess I just want to make sure that it was real clear that we're hiring.
Mr. Chair, that's what I understood to be. It's still our study, but we're working in coordination with them to make sure we're getting good information and everything else.
All right, then I'm fine with that, so.
Okay.
We have a motion, and we have a second. Any other further discussion? Now, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Now we're moving down to Commissioner Potter on the December 20th AM minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. December 20th, 2018, the Committee of the Whole met, and the discussion point was the proposed new government center. And Bruce Schwartzman from BKV did a schematic design, which is near completion. We've been going at this for a while. We're in the design phase of what's going on here. They had different proposals. We've had a lot of different changes in this to accommodate growth and staffing needs and that. And so it's like most buildings we've had before. It morphs a little bit from the original concept to the final concept to get, and I won't go into detail about the different levels and what was going on, but basically we're getting down to, recommending the committee to hold the first week of January, which was last week, to discuss the fiscal portion of this proposed government center. That was one part of it, because we had to come up with whether these budgets get tied to this, bonding gets tied together with the FBI shooting range or not, separate issues, together issues, and had Bruce Kimmel from Ehlers come in and explain some of the things along that. I was late to the meeting because of another one I attended, but the idea is where it goes and how it fits into the 5-year plan, and how do we keep the levy low. We're still doing this. I mean, there's a lot of different discussion, which is good. And the second part of that one, we had the Sheriff's Office range project, and we had the diagrams and the tactical training design and what was going on, and we've gone through quite a few of what's going to be out there. We had the Mr. Walden from the FBI out there also to lend any discussion points that were into it. It went from, what do we need for meeting rooms, what do we need for this, since we're looking at the EOC, the data center out there and everything else, and all the elevations, security level, and everything else going on. And basically, and the cost got a little bit higher than we first anticipated, but then when you start incorporating everything that needs to be in there, I, for one, am a person, let's do it right the first time instead of trying to cut things out. Let's just get it done, get it right. The quality lives on long after the price is forgotten. We will have a top-rate training center for our deputies and other law enforcement in Wright County. And the recommendation out of that was to assume the preliminary project cost of the tactical training facility of $6 million. That is our portion of it on top of the 2.2. I want to make sure that's clear with the public. It's not 6 million total. It's 8.2 total, but 2.2 of it's coming from the FBI. And the minutes here are all online. Anybody who wants to know more about it can talk to any one of us or go online. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations.
Then the recommendation to schedule a committee of the whole, which in January we met for to discuss the fiscal portion of the government center as well.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm tangled up in some wires down here. I'm sorry. There's a wire.
The carpet's ripped right there.
Yeah. All right. So we have a motion. Do we have a second to?
Second.
All right. Any other further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right. December 20th. December 20th PM minutes. You want to summarize those as well real quick, Mr. Potter? Otherwise, I can do them real quick.
They got lost in the minutes. So many pieces of paper here.
Yeah.
I can discuss it real quick. Otherwise, here.
It's okay.
On December 20th, in the afternoon there, we had a discussion over the administrator role. All the commissioners are present, as well as Attorney Asselson, Sean Johnson, Jamie Goodwin-Schwartz, and Sue Virgin. There's some discussion that went back and forth regarding how the transition would go, what the position will look like, and there's some discussion that's still going to be ongoing as to what changes we're going to make in terms of committees and whether they would transition into workshops at some time. There was also some discussion to fine-tuning a contract between the county board and Mr. Kelly. I'm trying to figure where my recommendation page went with this.
It's here.
Sorry, I'm missing the last page here. Then the group came to the conclusion that we would move forward with the recommendation to schedule a workshop to further discuss the administrator county structure in terms of meetings and defining the role in a finer level. The second recommendation was the attorney's office is to prepare necessary resolutions in establishing an administrator position for the consideration at the January 15th county board meeting. And thirdly, the administrator contract for the board consideration also at the January 15th with the modifications that were defined at the December 20th meeting. With that, I will make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations from the December 20th Committee of the Whole.
So moved.
Can the chairman make a motion?
No.
Typically,
Oh,
no.
sorry. I'm so used to reading minutes and.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Udis. All right. Any other further discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. There you go. You caught me in a technicality
Yeah.
there.
That's right, it's your first day
Your
on the
new
job.
role.
I can,
He's been listening too much King Donald lately.
I'm just trying to be efficient here. All right, now we are through, oh, no, we have one last owners committee minutes.
Mr. Chair, the Owners Committee for the Justice Center met on December 19th. Commissioner Potter was there and Commissioner Delyden filled in for me. And then a bunch of the other staff is also present. Mitch Paulson opened the meeting stating that the progress is doing pretty good. They're going to be closing in, but it's probably done by now. They have temporary enclosure around and putting temporary heat in the building. There was one area they call Area A is a little bit behind, but it's not critical to the rest of the project moving forward. Also stated that there was a contingency fund of a little over $2 million, and it's only down to about $1.8 million right now with the change orders that have been implemented. There was a little bit of disagreement with some contractors as far as what they were actually bidding on, and so some of those things are going to have to be worked out amongst the group, I guess, that was nothing done at the meeting apparently. And our facilities manager, Mr. Wilczek, brought up some concerns with the Sally Port. That's an area where they can bring in, I think they also bring in the prisoners from other counties and stuff, but he wanted to make sure that the ambulance would be able to comfortably turn in there and that it would actually fit in the Sally Port. And apparently Mark, you guys might have went out and walked around later to see if it would work or not, but.
Yeah, the question is, it'll be able to get turned in there. It will not be able to fit in there and close the doors. But for the one time in 5 years, I think they can work around it.
Okay. Okay.
And if a person is in that bad a shape and an ambulance comes in, we don't have to worry about them.
Well, a lot of places don't have Sally Ports at all for an ambulance, so I mean, that's.
I
probably
don't see it being an issue.
Anyway, the recommendation is to continue forward and hold meetings regarding the PR8 and the PR16, which is progress reports, I imagine, Mike? Is that what PR stands for? Lee?
That's related to change orders, I believe.
Okay,
The
anyway.
vent plumbing change is 16 and 8 is the door frame changes.
This is Alan's hieroglyphics here for
It is,
me.
yeah.
So anyway, the next meeting is scheduled for January 16th of this year at 1:00 p.m. With that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendation for the next meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I was amazed there that we actually bring people on a rare occasion to court in an ambulance.
No. It's just if the ambulance ever needed to come to the building.
Oh, come to the, okay, I thought I said it, I was thinking they
No,
bring people.
I kind of blended them together. No, the Sally Port, the main purpose of it is to, like Sherburne County and different places, they'll come pick up the prisoners that we're boarding and bring them back to court in their county.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's what it's for.
Okay.
Well, in that, they use the Sally Port in the
The
jail
sheriff's
for.
office, yeah.
This is strictly if they're bringing somebody for court in our location.
Because I was thinking, when would you have an ambulance come?
Sorry about that. I kind of
That's all
blended,
right.
I kind of blended that together, so.
Mr. Chair, just to Commissioner Burrell's point, Commissioner Delights' point, some of the vehicles that they use for transporting prisoners have changed over time. So the concern was with the new transit, some of those,
Bigger buses.
they're just a little bit bigger than they used to be, and would they still fit? So Alan, and that's what I like about him, he's thinking about all those things there, and you look through and see whether it rises to the level of we need to change this now, because even though if we would have had a change in it, it would have been better before.
Oh, absolutely.
It still was time now to modify it if we had to.
Right.
And I trust that, I wasn't able to do the walkthrough with it, but I trust that Commissioner Glide, when he did it, came to the conclusion, we're fine for the one time in 5 years it happens.
Yeah, because I had asked, I don't remember who I had asked, but I had asked somebody on how often it's ever happened, and actually they said they could never recall it ever happening.
Yeah.
Well, it's better to
So
ask
that's
the
why I
question.
just said once in 5 years. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
it's an everyday
But it's
occurrence.
good to ask the question and.
Yep, absolutely.
It was just like the scanners at the beginning, Sherburne County did not have a 36-inch wide scanner for wheelchairs, so they had to wheel everybody and said, do that over. So I had them check, and sure enough, ours are wide enough for ADA, because Sherburne County said it's a real pain in the hind end when a wheelchair does come there and they have to go around the other doors and get other deputies up, and says it slows down the whole process.
All right, well, we'll keep moving forward here. We're going to schedule a committee of the whole for the regional AIS inspection program.
Mr. Chair, yes, as you mentioned, this was one of the recommendations of an earlier set of committee of the whole minutes. Looking at different dates, I did have some correspondence back and forth with Luke, the director at Soil and Water. He had tossed out a couple different dates, said he could probably work around our schedule quite a bit, but preferred the week of the 22nd or 23rd of January. In February, he could probably make the 6th work if we were looking at that day, or would prefer somewhere in the 12th to the 14th. So he was fairly workable to whatever we would propose, I think. But I don't know if the board has a preference, but just some thoughts from Soil and Water's perspective.
February 12th?
And Mr. Chair, yeah, go into February, because January's going to load up really quick here.
Well, 13th and 14th, we have our legislators
Yes.
down at the Capitol.
That's why I thought maybe the 12th, that Tuesday, we have nothing, I don't have anything yet on the 12th.
12th
Yeah.
would be, that's a board day anyway.
Now, my question is, do you guys want to go, probably better off going, it's going to be, could be a lengthier meeting, maybe go 1 o'clock, especially, I mean, I've had people that have been interested in us having this one in the evening, because there's a lot of people that have wanted to attend it, but there's a lot of staff as well, so it could get costly. It'd be one that if you're going to do it, you'd have to, if you're going to try and accommodate that, you have to go later in the
Well,
day.
how many of our staff?
I guess just, what?
I won't be there if it's an evening.
So,
Well, then we'll get something, then we'll get a lot accomplished, if there's not gonna be any attorneys there.
I mean, basically, look in the sheriff's department, you'll have at least 1 or 2 from there, you'd have somebody from the attorney's office, a couple administrative staff, you're having 6, 7 county staff, and then at least 3, 4 soil and water staff. I would say if you wanted to meet it halfway, you could go with like a 2, 3 o'clock meeting on
3
that.
o'clock, then people have it, if they need to take a part of a day off work to come here, it's not taking the whole day. If it's that important to them, they will take a half a day off work to do that. So 3 o'clock, I think, is a fair time.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah, because we want to try to accommodate the best we can, but going 6 o'clock at night is not fair to burden everybody. But 3 o'clock, it'll be reasonable. We're not doing it 1 to direct the whole day, but 3 o'clock is reasonable for them.
I think that's fair. So you want to go
make a
February 12th?
motion to set a
The 12th?
committee of the whole on February 12th at 3 p.m. to discuss the regional AIS inspection program.
I'll second it.
Mike, just so you know, we have extension that day at 4 o'clock.
Well, that's our reason to get out of there.
And,
Don't muddy the water here, Charlie.
and then, well, and just pointing out, then, and also, I'll be down to the,
Rural caucus that night.
for the rural caucus.
But that doesn't start till 7,
It
right?
starts at 7.
So you should be good. If we're still here at 7 o'clock on a 3 o'clock meeting, some things went really wrong.
It'll be 6, but, yeah, because it takes an hour.
You'll need
get
to,
down.
you'll need to be out of here by 5:30.
So we'll miss the extension is all. Okay, that's fine.
All right. With that, we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next one, schedule committee hold discuss the administrator position, and that's going to be discussing workshops in the whole gambit, correct?
Yes, as you know, we've had quite a few meetings. I think we're all in agreement based on the recommendation of the minutes that we're going to move forward with the transition structurally through the resolutions at next board meeting. However, we still have a number of logistical questions, I guess I'll call them, about the meetings, committee meetings. We've talked a lot about workshops and how that would work, so I think there's more discussion to be had there. We did talk a little bit about potentially combining Health and Human Services into the board meeting. I also think it would be good to clarify and discuss the Assistant County Administrator as well as part of this discussion, so.
Mr. Chair, we're meeting next Tuesday, the 15th, at 1 o'clock to discuss that, what we want to do with the sheriff's study. So would that be a good time? I mean, that I would not anticipate that would be a very long meeting.
The
we added
sheriff's
on to
one might
that.
not be long, this one might be.
Right.
This will be,
Yeah, but if we put it on at that same time or at 1:30 essentially,
well, we have to do a committee of the whole to discuss this committee pieces, didn't you? We don't want to do that. Maybe we're better off doing the committee assignments. We rehoning that. That one I should be put together with the administrator piece, because I think that kind of ties into the discussion of what things go to committee and what things are, because that's why I think that might be more of a lengthier conversation if we're going to go into that. So
that'd be something for the 16th then, because of the nature of those ones, instead of trying to cram all on the 15th and not get any.
right?
Or could we do it the 22nd after the board meeting?
The 15th, we have leadership too.
Yeah, we have
We have
leadership.
leadership, and I'll be hoping to attend the 2 days of the ERP vetting.
I'd rather keep the 15th shorter, because at that point, we're going to be a pretty long day of meetings at that point. I feel we might be
Okay.
fatigued to get a good conversation at that point.
But you did say to add on something onto that?
No, the
Meeting at
15th, I
one?
said maybe we should have the committee assignments
At a
tagged in with
different
tagged with the administrator one, put those together.
Yeah, and Lee won't be there, so.
Yep.
The 22nd then?
The 22nd after the board meeting? That works.
We
We can start it.
Sounds good. All right,
So we'll say 10:30, even though it could be.
Yeah.
January
And we might have to recess for lunch if it goes real long.
Yep.
See how it goes. I mean, no, really, that's a lot of talk, and it could,
Yeah.
January 22nd, so that will be,
Let the record reflect, nothing gets in the way of Commissioner Burrell's chow time.
okay, we're getting there. So we have these, now we have a closed
So
session.
is that the motion? Do we
Oh, yeah,
make a
we've got-
motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that. 22nd after the board meeting, approximately 10:30.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Dahlhead.
Second.
Oh, either way.
Second by Commissioner Potter. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that was the committee assignments and the administrator position.
Yep.
All right, now we have the closed session, property discussion on 3785 Highway 25.
I can speak to this, Mr. Chair. This is a property we've been back and forth in, the county had expressed interest in purchasing it, and gone back and forth with the property owner, who has now approached us with a new offer for us to consider. So under Minnesota statute, we can close the meeting or have a closed session to discuss that offer that was presented to us.
Did they give us a new offer? I thought it was.
They've changed their offer
They changed their counter.
closer to
offer.
ours. Yes, they've
Up
changed their
or
counter.
down?
Down.
Down to, okay.
So we can discuss further at the closed session. I'm not anticipating this to be a terribly long meeting. I don't know if you'd want to do it before a upcoming Tuesday at 8 o'clock or 8:15, or just throwing out ideas. I know we're getting a lot of committee of the whole scheduled here, so.
Lee, I don't think that meeting will take long. Why don't I'll make a motion to do that on the 15th at 8:30 in the morning, before board meeting.
Okay,
I don't anticipate it taking very long.
January 15th at 8:30 a.m.
Why don't we plan for 8:15, because that way I know that sometimes it seems a lot of people are always.
Well, you'd like to have a few minutes in between that, whether we're walking, right?
Right.
8:15 a.m.
For the two of us that might get caught with the train in Buffalo getting here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Dahlin, was that?
And I'll second that.
All right, and we have a second by Commissioner Potter for January 15th at 8 a.m. for a committee of the whole.
I think I made that motion.
Oh, you did? Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
I don't care.
Whatever.
Commissioner Burrell, Commissioner Potter, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Scheduled committee of the whole, closed session, labor relations, class and I don't know why I can never say it, class and compensation study.
Maybe we'll just come in at 7 that same one.
Yeah, they've been at it a long time, they're starting to get punchy here.
Let's
Well,
go for 6 a.m.
Yeah, well, it's already listed as 129, so perhaps we,
I'm out of options. Somebody else can come up with.
I'm assuming that Springstead
Attorney.
has set that date aside.
Correct, yes. We had discussions with them. Other dates that they had looked at were going to be tough for us to make, so we had talked about the 29th.
Okay, and that's a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday. I'd planned following the board meeting is kind of the default.
Okay.
Although I believe
Okay.
there's some availability from them in the afternoon if need be.
So we're gonna just resetting for 10:30?
So 10:30, yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to set a committee of the whole on 1/29/19 at 10:30 to have a closed session for labor relations.
Are you expecting it to be a short meeting, or that could be a long one? Maybe break for lunch and come back, or order pizza?
Potentially. I would think it will definitely take 10:30 to noon.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating we'll have quite a few topics to talk about. So I would anticipate a few hours here, perhaps a break or we order in lunch.
Okay.
All right. Next, we have appoint the Great River Regional Library. Oh, no, we have to approve that one,
close out
sorry.
this
We have a
one.
motion for that?
Oh, Mr. Chair?
I made the
Oh,
motion.
motion, Commissioner Houston, a second?
Yeah, we did have a
Wait just a
second.
second, I missed that.
Catch it.
I didn't.
All
I didn't
right,
catch it.
I'll second.
All right, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden. Any further discussion? All in
Mr.
favor?
Chair, just to refresh the lady, Jim Shovelin has done a
Oh,
fantastic
this
job.
is
It's
the,
turned
uh,
off.
We haven't
No,
voted.
we're still.
We're still on the,
You're still on
we're
that one,
setting the
okay.
date, yep.
Okay.
Then, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now we're on to the appointment of the
Okay.
Great River Regional Library.
And Mr. Chair, I'll take this. The appointment of Great River, we're still looking for somebody to replace Jim Shovelin. Like I said, he's done a fantastic job there. It's going to be hard to replicate somebody like that, but we're out looking for people to serve on that board. Currently, we got Wayne Bauernschmidt and Dan Braventer, so we're hoping to have somebody from either, Monticello, Otsego, St. Michael, Rockford, or somebody around there out, and the cities that I represent, I believe they put it on their website looking for people. I know the library board, libraries in the towns have been looking for people, and if you hear of anybody, know of anybody, that'd be a good advocate there.
When are those meetings?
Oh, boy. Basically, just about every month, one meeting's a meeting, one's a workshop, about 8 times a year.
So, but
It's on a Tuesday,
on a Tuesday in the afternoon,
in the evening.
in the evening,
Evening in St. Cloud.
just to make it easier for people to know.
Right.
And it is a paid position too,
Yes, it
right?
is.
You
There's a
get
per
what,
diem. There's a
$10?
Per diem and mileage.
So we have no action on that item since we have no appointments at this, or,
So hopefully we'll get some more out there, info out there. Have you talked to Julie about getting it on our Facebook page and that sort of
Yes,
stuff?
I did.
Then you'll get some choices, options.
Yeah, and I'm hoping so. Like I say, and it's sad when you have somebody as a good person as Jim has been there.
Yep, yep.
It's just, we're still looking though.
then we have approval of bylaws for the Wright County Area Transportation Advisory Council. Brian? So I just wanted to clarify, if we didn't put language in there as they're placing liaisons, can that go without saying that obviously we'd have two commissioners sitting as liaisons? Or do we need to modify the language in that?
So bylaws are generally a creation of the body itself. And, I kind of get the feeling that the cities are forming this. I mean, well, I guess it can go either way. We're relying on cities to appoint people to sit on here, to sit on this body. It's an advisory body to what the county is doing regarding transit. So I guess I would rather see it in the bylaws.
Okay.
If you were going to have either one or two commissioners on. I mean, we have a number of advisory things like Parks and Planning Commission where there's only one commissioner.
So which we can be either way, one or two.
One is fine.
One
for
commissioner is fair on that then.
Do you think it's really necessary to have, I mean, because you're already on the Trailblazer board, the advisory
Well,
committee?
the advisory committee is a double-fold piece. One, it was encouraged strongly by the cities as well as it meets a requirement that actually Sibley and McLeod County have to do. MnDOT is requiring us to have these local advisory councils.
I mean, we had them with River Rider too, but none of our board members, we went to a meeting occasionally, but we weren't really members of it.
We're only meeting 3 times a year, so it's a very seldom meeting.
I just don't know if you need the board members.
Mr. Chair, I think you mentioned before that it's kind of the, being the message carrier back to the board. if you
That's
will.
what it was, so that their information gets actually taken back to the Trailblazer board, their recommendations, so.
Whether you agree with them or not.
No, and I think we had an advisory committee that would come to, a member that would come to our board, so I guess either way, whatever. It's not a biggie.
I think it's a little different because here you're dealing with 3 counties compared to just the 2 that you had.
Because basically this is structured the same as the parks, other than the fact that it's a JPA and it's not coming back to the county board, it'd be going to the Trailblazer board, kind of.
So you want to get this remodified then? So I'll make a motion.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Delighten, yeah, we could either lay it over, or if, I mean, I don't know if there are other things that people are concerned about in there, but I could make that change and just indicate
And get it in for
that
next
there's
meeting.
one
Yeah.
commissioner
So be under
representative.
section 3 membership?
Yeah, and just the additional one line that one commissioner liaison serves on that board as well, and that's
And I would say one of the commissioners from,
the Trailblazer board.
yeah,
Okay.
from the Wright County. That way you don't have to list a name.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve it with those changes in it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dahleden. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Eastham. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now we're moving on to H, cancel a 5th Tuesday in April of this year.
Mr. Chair, just thought it'd be good to bring it up. We will have other months throughout the year, but this is the first one. Just thought we'd knock it out now so we can plan accordingly. Don't necessarily have a recommendation.
I don't know, what do you
Someone
think
has
in the,
I think the 16th, because the 15th is tax day, and we'll all need a break.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, that's Easter week, maybe that would be a good day to do
Maybe
it.
Easter, that Tuesday of Easter, I don't know, Easter,
That
maybe
is, that
Easter.
is Easter week,
because Easter's on the 14th,
21st.
No, it's on the
the 21st?
Yep.
Do you want to go the 23rd?
No, I was
Are
thinking
you,
the
are you 16th?
16th.
I mean, depends either way. I mean, 16th or the 23rd would be the 2 prime dates to go for.
16th would be, that's a Holy Week, so it'd probably be better to do that one.
And normally people are on vacation. Some of the schools are off
You
that
better
week.
have the week, the one after Easter, the 23rd. You know,
I mean, the 23rd is good for me too, or the
no difference
16th.
to me.
I could go for the 16th or the 23rd too, Charlie.
Either one.
What's
Or
better
the
for,
30th?
23rd.
23rd, I like the 23rd.
Mr. Kelly, what's better for staff?
Preference. I don't think
Susan,
we
when
have
do
a
you
preference.
vacation?
Okay.
I'll make a motion to
Take one of the Tuesdays
take
off.
the 23rd,
All right.
not to have a county board meeting because of the 5 Tuesdays.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Dahlhead and second by Commissioner Burrell to cancel the April 23rd meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Prevails. Resolution setting per diems.
I'll make a motion to set per diems at $50, which is what it currently is.
Are using the, well, obviously, those would be the addition, with the additions of those items that we just discussed
Yep.
earlier to this list.
Second.
And, Mr. Chair, just a point of clarification, though, if there is that a meeting over 4 hours in length, will be paid $100.
Except for elected
Excludes- okay,
officials,
I'm sorry.
excludes elected
Yep.
officials.
Yep,
That's mostly for.
Yep,
Board-
that's for
yeah,
the
Board of Adjustments and
Board
for
of
the,
Adjustment, Planning and Zoning.
planning and zoning.
So I get more, That's just.
You
for
don't.
the-
Just if you're not elected, if you're an appointed, like all the members on the planning commission, if their meeting goes over 4 hours.
Oh, is that the way it was
Was
worded?
worded,
Okay.
yep.
You get paid to be there anyway. And I think if it goes over 4 hours, chances are it's because of Commissioner Burrell, so he should start being cut.
I should pay the other.
Yes, out of your purse. Yeah, yeah.
No, you know what, somebody on the planning board asked me, if we got a raise, I thought we just gave them a raise, but it's only if it goes over 4, that's
I thought
that's good.
I know we discussed it, whether it was gonna be 3 or 4, and I guess it came out at 4. I was,
No, because I know they get more than I do at the meeting anyway, because I think they get 60 already, so.
Did they, which,
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Have to look into that.
Look into that, which,
But anyway, okay.
all right. All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just so that we can have that information for when we have our meeting to discuss.
Yeah, this stuff, yeah, it would be nice to have all that stuff listed in this. We can have a better discussion, so we can get this document good and honed in.
Yep.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chair,
Resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution. Okay, I'm sorry. Commissioner Potter?
Aye.
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 All right. Well, now we are to approve a resolution approving charitable gambling application, LG 230 International Association of Lions, Rockford Gambling Site.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the gambling.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden and a second by Commissioner Potter. Commissioner Burrell?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes. And being at the fact that we've been well over 2 hours now, we will ask that everybody keeps their advisory committee reports short, and we can always follow back up with them next week if necessary.
Well,
Commissioner Dahlheiden?
I got nothing, and I want to get to another meeting that started at 11 o'clock.
Commissioner Potter, you,
I attended on January 2nd the legislative forum at the Buffalo Discovery School. Basically, it was the schools complaining about funding, and Senator Osment put it square. The big districts like the way it's going right now, and they're not going to change it, and they're not going to share, and you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to have to work on the legislature. The other thing, the Highway 55 Coalition, I was re-elected president or chair of that committee, and we got a lot of things going forward for 2019 and for 2020's budget. That's all I have.
Commissioner Burrell?
Fair Board met last night. The fair dates, July 24th to July 28th this year. There was some other things, but I'll make that short. The Crow Board, we met on January 2nd, along with the One Watershed, One Plan. Mostly with the One Watershed, One Plan, we're looking into who is going to be the fiscal agent and who would be kind of the planning coordinator group, whether it's going to be the Crow or a different county entity. And MRC, we had hosted that yesterday, and it was very nice to see Commissioner Vetch and Commissioner Hewsome also in attendance. And Commissioner Hewsome held down the fort at the end because we both had to leave early. But anyway, had lots of things going on there, and maybe I'll bring people up to date at a later time.
Okay, I'll keep it short. Also, I was at the Buffalo Safe Schools meeting last week, and of course, the discussion continues to be about the vaping, and they're looking at getting some people to the table to really discuss this and try to figure out some solutions. The other thing that came up is that there was only 3 fatalities in Wright County at this last year, which is the lowest ever. The last 2 low numbers were 2 years in a row with we had 6 fatalities, and none of them were on county roads, and that's been something that certainly the Safe Communities of Wright County has been working with to reduce those deaths, and the efforts are working through education, engineering, enforcement, and emergency response. And the other thing, I'd just like to thank the group of people that made and donated 64 handmade blankets to the Wright County foster children. So it was the first graders of Delano Elementary, the Annandale Girl Scout Troop, 18155, and the family of Connie Haig Krantz, guardian ad litem. So, I mean, things like that make such a difference to our, you know, the programs that we have. So I'd like to publicly thank them. That's it.
Okay, and I guess I'm going to keep this real short here. December 19th, WCAT met last meeting to dissolve the organization and begin the process of, which we just approved here, an advisory, transitioning it into an advisory council. These Trailblazer met also on December 19th. Had a lot of discussion that you guys will see coming forward if we will be involved at all in an RTCC, whether it would be 6E or 7W or just not at all involved in one whatsoever. That'll be an item that will be discussed probably here at the board level at some point. Other than that, the operations are going well. We have 30 buses on the road, and we will have 31 probably on the road actually as of now, and a 32nd bus should be on the road even shorter, even by the end of this month. Bertram Advisory, we looked at camper cabin options. That was the biggest discussion for that one, and that was all I have. With that, we will call the meeting to adjourn at 11:08.